Today, we're talking about a set of statutes in Arizona that govern conduct as it relates to weapons. It's called Misconduct Involving Weapons. Here I have a Glock 23, a fourth generation 40 caliber weapon. This is a real firearm. And if I were somebody who was not allowed to have this firearm, I would be categorized as what's called a prohibited possessor. This means I am an individual who is not allowed to own a firearm or a number of other prohibited weapons. We'll talk about what are prohibited weapons in a different video, but today we're talking about specifically who is not allowed to have weapons. If that person does have a weapon, a firearm, or anything else that's prohibited, they can be charged with a crime called misconduct involving weapons. So let's run through the statute and let's see who is on this list, who cannot have a firearm or any other weapon. The statute is defined under the definitions portion of the weapons portion of the statute. It's ARS 133101, and it says that there's a different number of people who are actual prohibited possessors. The first being anybody who by court order is not allowed to have a weapon. The court has the authority to order people from being precluded from having firearms or other weapons if they are considered to be a danger to themselves or to others, or if they have some sort of major disability. It's called a persistent acute or a grave disability that would cause them to be some sort of a danger to themselves or to others. The court may specifically order them not to have firearms. If they're caught with a firearm or any other weapon, they can be charged with a crime for that. Similarly, and this is by far the most common type of misconduct involving weapons that we see, if a person has a felony conviction, meaning that person was convicted of a felony in Arizona or in any other state that Arizona will recognize, and they are caught with a weapon, doesn't matter if the felony's 2 years old or 10 years old, if they have that conviction and their rights have not been restored, meaning a judge has not given them authority to have a weapon, and they're caught with something, they can be charged with a misconduct involving weapons violation. Similarly, other people who are on parole, if they're on probation, if they're on community supervision, work furlough, any of these things, so they've just been convicted of a crime and the court has placed them on some sort of status where they're going to be monitored, they're going to be on probation or parole. The court still has jurisdiction over them. They're not allowed to have firearms or any other prohibited weapons at that time. If they're caught with one, they will be charged with a new crime for misconduct involving weapons. Other individuals who cannot have firearms, undocumented or non-documented or non-immigrant aliens. So this is people who have come into the United States either unlawfully or they're here on some sort of legal status, lawful status, but they are not actually going to be immigrating into the United States. They are not allowed to have firearms, at least in Arizona, unless there's some sort of exception to that. So if these people do have a valid, let's say a hunting permit, they can have a rifle for that purpose. If they are here doing some sort of competition, so let's say we have a worldwide firearms competition. Well, of course, somebody traveling from outside of the United States here on a temporary visa or has some sort of vacation legal status here. I'm not an immigration attorney, but if they have some status here and they're doing it for competition, they're going to be precluded from this law. So they're going to be lawfully allowed to have a firearm, even though this top part of it will technically apply to them. There's an exception that's carved out. And there are other exceptions as well. For diplomats, security forces who come with diplomats, you can get special waivers from the Attorney General or the State Department of the United States government. Any of those people who technically are non-immigrant people in the United States, they are going to be accepted from that particular rule. Same with what's called Rule 11. So in criminal law, there's a rule that says that a person, if they're not competent to stand trial or go through the criminal case, whether they've got some mental disabilities or they've got some sort of disorder that requires a significant amount of treatment, they may go through what's called Rule 11. This is where they see a number of behavioral individuals, psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, who will determine whether that person is competent to go through the process. If they're incompetent, then they're not allowed to have a firearm. If they're judged incompetent by the Rule 11 court or by a number of psychiatrists, and the court finds them to be incompetent such that they cannot continue to be charged with the crime, they're not allowed to have a firearm. And similarly, anybody who was found guilty but insane. So guilty except they're insane, meaning that's a whole topic for another video, but if they're guilty except insane, well, we don't want that person to have firearms. That is going to be an individual who has been deemed to be insane. They've got a mental disorder, they've got dysfunction, and we do not want them to have firearms either. So if anybody in this list is caught or is in possession of a weapon or a firearm, they can be charged with misconduct involving weapons. In most cases, it is a felony. It can be a class 4 felony. And if you've got prior felony convictions, so if you're in this category, you've got prior felony convictions and you're charged with a new felony conviction, that's going to elevate the category that you're in, category 1 through 3. It's going to elevate that, and any potential plea deal or sentencing is going to be substantially harsher than it might otherwise be for somebody without any felony convictions. So if you've been charged with a misconduct involving weapons charge and you fall into this category, our office, we deal with these very frequently. It's a quite common charge in Arizona. We'd be happy to sit down with you, talk about the specifics of your case, see what types of defenses we can build, make sure that you have a solid plan moving forward and you have the best representation possible. Give us a call. We offer free case evaluations. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks for watching.